Oh, well, back from a hard day's shopping, and I haven't got a clue what it cost me. But in the future, I might be able to keep an eye on that sort of thing from the comfort of my own home. In Germany, there's a bank that already offers this facility via the German equivalent of Prestel. And of course, I can dial that up on an international call. And there we are, online to Berlin. Now I can ask the German Prestel computer to switch my call through to the computer of the Verbraucherbank in Hamburg. Key in my identification, and then a password. Now I can ask the computer for a statement of my current account. Say the current account were a little overdrawn. I could shift money across from my deposit account. I could alter standing orders. There's a good possibility that in the future we'll be able to pay bills in this way in this country too. But the systems are on the way. Indeed, it's not only technically possible for customers to move the money around themselves, it is already happening, if you're the right kind of customer.
Money is a very expensive commodity. Let's say I was the corporate treasurer of a giant multinational group of companies trading around the world. I would need to see their accounts at the end of each day's business. Using this portable terminal and the international telecommunications system, I can see their balances instantly. As a result of that information, I see that I have to transfer funds, $500,000 from the company in California to the company in New York. So I talk to a computer in Boston, and that issues instructions to the bank in New York, and the message is relayed to California. Within a matter of hours, the credit will be transferred. Well, that's fine for the corporate treasurer. But even you and I are going to find ourselves doing more and more of our own basic banking, and doing it via machines.
Of course, however efficient the system, if you haven't got the money, you haven't got the money. Which is why, speaking personally, I'm not much of a one for using credit cards even.
Fine, then use cash, but move that cash electronically. At least that's what the banks would like you to do when you go shopping in the near future. By 1984, or perhaps 1985, machines like these will be scattered around the shopping centres of Britain. Let's suppose I want to buy something that costs £12.34. The shop assistant enters the price into this terminal, and I give her my bank card, which she feeds through the machine. Now, obviously, I've got to identify that this is really my card, so I use this little pad here and punch in my personal code, like that. Now, at this point, this machine is talking via the shop's bank to my bank's computer to check if I've got enough funds to cover the purchase. It says authorised, everything's okay, the sale's completed, and there's even a bill printed for the assistant. These funds could be transferred instantaneously, or alternatively, if it's more convenient, the banks could allow the usual 3 days for clearance. The saving to the banks could be enormous, and for the shops as well, particularly the large ones, which may be incurring large costs in handling cash. But of 250,000 retail outlets in this country, about 200,000 of them are one-man bands or very small. Will they be able to come into the cashless marketplace? There are several ways they may be able to.
Now, a delicatessen like this could be stocking something like 1,000 different lines. Tins, pâtés, meats, cheeses, pickles. That's quite a mouthful when it comes to stock taking, and a sizable investment that needs careful management. Packaged goods are often labelled with barcodes, whose lines can enable a computer to look up the current price of the product and other details about it. But of course, these barcodes are completely useless if there's no equipment to read them. But this electronic cash till will change all that, because not only does it compile the bill, it also keeps the stock records up to date. More than that, it never goes to sleep. At night time, it can go online to the wholesaler and reorder anything which is out of stock. And on top of that, it can then get on with doing the accounts and the VAT return. The most important thing about it is that it is cheap. A small shop can afford this, and because it's electronic, it will link directly in with banking systems. So, a small shopkeeper can enjoy the benefits of electronic fund transfer. All the systems we've looked at so far depend heavily on telecommunications, but there is another possibility, quite different, which is actually being tried out in France to yet another plastic card. But this one has a microchip in it. It can store large amounts of information, and so it can store money as well. You buy it ready loaded with electronic cash, and the price of each purchase is taken off electronically until the card runs out.
And when it has run out, you don't throw it away, because it'll give you a permanent record of all the transactions you made with the card. All you have to do is go to a shop or a bank where they've got a machine like this. You feed the card in, punch in your code, and it'll print out a copy of all your spending. It can show you details of what you've spent, where you spent it, and perhaps most important, how much you've got left. When you want a new one, you just go and buy one from a bank. It's an electronic wallet, a checkbook, and a bank statement. It's a plastic bank, and you can keep it in your pocket.
Viva grandes sensaciones. Disfrute del SEAT Málaga. La sensación de dominio. La increíble sensación de bienestar. De amplitud y espacio. SEAT Málaga. La sensación de potencia. Seguridad. La sensación de acertar. SEAT Málaga. Grandes sensaciones.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
Hello, my name's Gary Willett, and with friends Michael Amar and Steve Freeman, welcome to Volume 2 of this Vernon series. Can you imagine what it would be like to spend part of an evening with the professor while he was tipping all his knowledge about magic? Let's join the professor now. One of the most important things that I got out of Stars of Magic when it first appeared was the idea that in doing a double lift, you could just take two cards and turn them over, like turning the pages of a book. How did that come about, Professor?
Well, I always thought if you turn over two cards, no matter how, take two cards off, any way you like. Now, a very keen-eyed person can see that, very keen. I mean, young children with keen eyes can see that there are two cards there, but if you flop them over like a book, and square them up. Well, look, as an example, you can't see. You can turn over 8 or 10 cards. As long as they're squared up, nobody can tell by the thickness, because it disguises the thickness. I thought of that way back when I was a young boy, 7 or 8 years old.
But now there's more to your double lift than just a turnover. You have a theory on the get ready that perhaps you should gesture with this card.
Well, I say for people that have trouble getting a card, is if they want to get a break under two cards, they say, now, one.
Alto. En la biblioteca de diseño electrónico encontrarás el lado práctico de la electrónica, cómo montar un ordenador, cómo recibir televisión vía satélite, los porqués para dominar la nueva electrónica. Biblioteca de diseño electrónico con el tomo 1 gratis del 2.
Ediciones Ingelec.
Usa el consultorio telefónico.
You are watching is a paid advertisement. USA Network is not responsible for the claims and representations made by the sponsor.
The beauty secrets of some of Hollywood's biggest stars are revealed to your host, Morgan Brittany, who learns the art of staying young and looking beautiful from some of the most glamorous celebrities in show business. Because you don't have to be a movie star to look like one. Join us for Morgan Brittany on Beauty. with today's special guest star, George Hamilton. Ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Brittany.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited about today's show. Now, my guest is one of Hollywood's biggest stars. His face has been in every major magazine, and he's often seen with some of the sexiest women in the world. And today, he's here to tell secrets. That's right. For the first time ever, he's going to reveal his very own personal method for looking so good. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the glamorous, the gorgeous, George Hamilton. George, this is a real treat to have you here today and publicly reveal your beauty secrets, your secrets for looking so great.
Well, it's nice of you to have me. You know, a lot of people ask me advice, and I try to give them advice, and I've had a few years of experience. I think probably nowadays people are really interested in youthful-looking skin.
You do stay out in the sun a lot, but you look great, so you appear to be doing something right.
I've always tried to be, you know, reasonable about it, have balance about it. I think it's safe sun, I guess, more than anything else. You know what I should look like.
There's been some great things written about you. Like I said, you've been on the cover of everything. Well, there was an article in Vogue not too long ago that was a terrific article about your lifestyle and everything, but there was one thing on edge or something. Would you tell us
I was a bit depressed, and I thought I'd commit suicide.
No, you were looking for sun, right?
That's right, it's true. I am a maniac for sunshine, and it was one of those days in June where you expected sunshine, and it just wasn't there. And I was sitting in my room, and all of a sudden I looked out on this balcony, and I saw on the ledge, if I climbed around, and the clouds just parted just right, that I could probably get maybe a half hour of sunshine. So I quickly jumped into my little bathing suit, grabbed my reflector, and ran out on the ledge.
Oh, no.
And what happened was that I was sitting there on the ledge perfectly, sitting next to an albino pigeon, when all of a sudden I looked down, and there was this little lady down there looking at me, and she had hair kind of straggling, little hat, and she said, "What are you doing then?" She said, "You trying to kill yourself?" I said, "Ma'am, would you mind being quiet?" She said, "Look at him, he's trying to kill himself." With this, I said, "Shh." And about 18 people all formed around this little lady, and I was driven back into my room. I waited for another 15 minutes for the crowd to disperse. I went back out, and I sat for almost an hour and got perfect sunshine. The pigeon, of course, has skin cancer.
Well, being a sun worshiper, all right. You're out in the sun. You have a great-looking tan. How do you look so good? How do you look so young? The rest of us would look like leather.
Well, I spent a lot of time in Florida, and actually, when I went to school, I'd go 4 days to school, and 3 days I'd sit on the beach. So finally, after a few years, I started realizing that what I was doing needed some sort of protection, and I was finding things that other people really didn't know about. Aloe vera was not something really dealt much with in those days, and I, of course, found it, and it grew in the backyard, and we just broke it open and put it on our face.
You mean even as a child, you were interested in skincare?
Oh, I sure was. My father was the head of cosmetics, was really the head of Elizabeth Arden, ran Elizabeth Arden, and both my grandfathers were medical doctors. And so I saw enough of it over the years to understand really what some of the needs were, and I could understand what the consumer's problem was, really. So I started learning that, really, as a kid.
So you learned a lot just through your father's work.
Well, it's a lot of research, but it's a lot of common sense, too. I think you have to decide in the end what's best for you. Yeah. And there's got to be a balance about things in life, you know. There's too much hype out there today.
George, when we found out that you were coming on the show, we asked some people about their skincare concerns, and we've got a tape of those people, and we'd like to look at it now, okay?
Wrinkles is my worst fear, and I find them every day. Isn't that everyone's fear, the fear of wrinkles and aging?
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. You're so frustrated. I ended up at a dermatologist, and I said, you know, what do? I go through all this stuff, and nothing ever works.
I'm worried in the future about, I guess, wrinkles, because with having dry skin, then my face would probably wrinkle quite a bit.
I've had a lot of comments lately that I'm getting crow's feet on my eyes, and I want to get rid of those.
All right, we can see by that people are really concerned about their skin. But with all the information that's saturating the market, how are we, the average public, supposed to know what's right for us, what we should buy?
It's a very difficult thing to know nowadays what the truth is. And I think there are too many experts out there that are confusing things.
Well, the confusing thing to me is sometimes I'll go into a store and I'll end up buying a lot of different products, not knowing really what's best for me, and I'll end up spending a ton of money. I'm sure a lot of other people do that too.
No one simplified it and put the most modern, the most helpful ingredients and the ones that make you the most youthful in the few products. That's the problem. I think they've just confused the issue.
Well, all right. Well, I have very dry skin. A lot of people have dry skin, oily skin, whatever. Mine is very dry, and I have always used a moisturizer, and I've always felt, I feel that I should have an oil.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Andrew McCarthy is interested in more than just a good... Listen, he's having no trouble...
Could you say it again?
He... Feller in the white...
On your screen.
Said earlier, Steve, undefeated...
It's simple for...
This is simple.
Program on therapeutic fiber was...
Head to Broadway by way of football, boxing,
The whole project will collapse.
Down to the taxi cab to get Elwood's things. This awful man.
It's closing all of a sudden.
And sharing this with us.
Bet there's nothing left to do.
Everybody stick around because we're going to have some fun and look at this. Go if you want to get yourself an aquarium.
And all these money... 29.
A free trip after just 20...
My jail.
So I dug my heels in deeper. My...
Meditation. Our devotional period is in cooperation with the Rhode Island State Council of Churches. This evening's meditation is conducted by the Reverend Ralph E. Macy, Grace Episcopal Church, Providence.
In this night hour, I invite your thoughts and prayers for those in this city and community who will be awake during the coming hours. For doctors and nurses and medical personnel who care for the sick. For those who prepare our newspaper and those who deliver them to us. For firefighters and police officers and all who remain alert to the safety of our community. For parents who awake to tend their children's needs. For bakers and chefs and those who serve in restaurants throughout the night. For those who would sleep but cannot, who remain awake through illness or worry or the disturbances around them. And for all who serve in many ways to maintain the fabric of our life together. For those who are especially in our thoughts and concerns. May God grant them and you peace. May the Lord bless us all, give us wisdom and strength and courage for our daily tasks. Give us refreshing sleep and renewal of body and spirit. Make us glad in our life and work, this night and in the days ahead.
Meditation. Our devotional period has been conducted by the Reverend Ralph E. Macy, Grace Episcopal Church, Providence.
We
We now... Here I come to save the day. Super Jack is cutting prices, and that's his way. Kind of catchy.
Jack Roberts, you're too much. What's with the cake?
I'm Super Jack Roberts, and I'm making super deals on Magic Chef appliances, plus up to $500 rebates.
Hurry into Super Jack Roberts.
I'm battling high prices with easy credit terms, 90 days same as cash, and bank cards.
This is silly. I'm leaving.
So am I. Like my prices, I'm going down, down, and away. I won't be undersold.
There's some good news tonight, Rich. Boblo Island Amusement Park may be able to stay in business thanks to an unnamed potential buyer. A company spokeswoman for Boblo refuses to name the prospective buyer, but she did confirm that negotiations are underway and the sale seems likely. Boblo Island, located up the Detroit River, has been plagued with severe financial problems. Right now, its debt adds up to $9 million. The company filed for bankruptcy in April of last year under Chapter 11 of the federal bankruptcy laws to protect itself from creditors. An attorney for Boblo said the interested buyer is looking at the park both as an investment and a tax shelter. The Woodward Corridor in downtown Detroit is another long-time institution having its share of financial problems. But early next week, the so-called mall on Woodward Avenue will reopen to auto traffic, a move designed to spark new business. Last week, the City Council voted to reopen the avenue between Grand Circus and Michigan, and Mayor Coleman Young is apparently going along with that idea. He let a Friday deadline go by without vetoing the council's decision. Traffic was cut off in the Woodward Corridor 5 years ago in an effort to create business with an urban mall atmosphere. But the council claims that move hurt business instead.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.